I'm going to go with another crappy front-facing cell phone video again tonight. I had thought not to do one, but I figured, hey, I might as well. Plus, I remembered I found the list that I was trying to talk about yesterday, and I've already tried recording this video once, and then apparently I filled up my card on my phone, so like shit, so I gotta redo it. But anyways, I need to switch to the SD card. We'll do it later. But what I had mentioned last night, about the whole crap with the shooting, really bad. All the segues that went with it were kind of strange, but the world is how it is. We can't get around it. We just can't get around it. But a couple things I was going to talk about last night that I forgot about were, I think the first thing was going to be the stuff that was talked about. It was like Tuesday of last week. I even had a kind of a political debate over Facebook with a guy I used to work with. Good guy. It's just kind of this weird thing. But it was the part where Rush Limbaugh had talked about Bane versus Bane. Bane Capital versus Bane from Batman. And it was an interesting thing. I think really kind of what started the whole thing was I had posted the video from Huffington Post, and I'd really done it just because it gave the gist of the story, what was happening, and then it had a clip. It was the whole audio from that half of his show, or what is like 15, 20 minutes long. I listened to the whole thing. It was funny. So I'm someone who gets that comic effect from Bill O'Reilly and Rush Limbaugh, so whatever. But it was funny while listening to it. What really called my attention to it was my sister heard from Alex about this, where he had my brother-in-law Alex. He's like a huge Batman fan, so if it was Batman in the news, I heard about it. But he also works in radio, so he probably heard about it from someone. I didn't ask him where he heard it from, and it's not that important. But anyways, he was talking about how the movie studio was using Bane from the movie to talk about to use that as a way of bashing Bane Capital, which was the company run by Mitt Romney, retroactively into 99? Something like that. I don't remember what the dates were, and frankly, it's not important. But it was kind of an interesting thing. And what really drew my attention to really was the part where he described Bane as a four-eyed, fire-breathing monster. Guys, let that sink in for a second. Anybody who knows anything about Batman universe, who knows the character Bane, especially from the new movies, understands that he has two eyes, doesn't breathe fire. I don't know, maybe his blood's flammable or that venom stuff is, but I don't know. I don't really know. But I found that was interesting. And the nice little debate I had on Facebook was interesting. Must learn on my phone that when I try and type the letter I, sometimes it becomes you. And it becomes admitting to something versus accusing. So, must remember to read my texts, my mobile updates before I post them. Had to do a little backpedaling on that one, make sure it was understood that I meant that I did post whatever, not he did it. So, but yeah, so that was one of the things we'll talk about yesterday. Let me mark that off my list. The other thing was this thing in the news last week. I don't remember who the model is, or is an athlete or something, but I think it was a model. There was a model who she had to move up a size in clothing. She moved to a size 6. And apparently that's now considered plus size. Yeah, there's another thing, just let that sink in. A size 6 is a plus size. Now, again, as I stated yesterday, and it's relatively obvious by the hair on my face, the deepness of my voice, the prominent ridge here, I am not female. And I don't understand the clothing size of female clothing, women's clothing. I do understand that size 6 is not fat, or was it say not deserving of the term plus size. It was my understanding like size 10 or 12 or whatever was plus size. I guess I can accept that. I don't know. I've heard a lot of women I know complain about being, whatever size they are, and being married, being a male, I'm just kind of like, just ignored it. So, being a portly gentleman, it doesn't mean shit to me. I am a plus size, fuck ever that means. I don't wear extra, just 1X. 1X for me. Much like my chromosomal makeup, but, yeah, sorry. Whatever. But it bothers me because I have a daughter. And if this is what to expect as she gets older, her idea of a body image is going to be very distorted. And I made a kind of a remark on this last week about how it's going to be to the point where if you want if you want to be able to fit in or be the right size, you have to be a 6-year-old girl. And then that gets into a whole other stupid ass issue like pageants and the thing in the news last year about the children's lingerie, which disgusting. And as I said yesterday, it takes a certain amount of thing to get me disgusted. That's horrible. Usually things that in some way act on my morals or affect me, affect my life, or more likely have an effect on my children, that's the stuff that really does bother me. Because, like I was saying yesterday, the stuff with the shooting in Colorado, I didn't really start getting emotional until that one girl was talking about the little girl that she was babysitting, she babysat, that was shot. She died right there in front of her, and I was sitting there listening to the news about that, and it upset me. But yeah, so size 6, not plus size. This is when you get over themselves and come to this little place we call reality. There's a lot of people here, people who are not stupid. Well, there are some, most, lot, a few, whatever. Depends on your definition. So that's a good, a personal perspective kind of thing. Oh yeah, I'm talking about the fetus signs yesterday. That's still despicable. I haven't seen any in Dallas, and I hope I don't ever do. Hope I never do. As much prudish, conservative people we have here, I don't expect those signs to be up for very long. And I still rank those people up with the having the same audacity of a Westboro Baptist church member. It's remarkable how intolerant someone can be. In fact, there was something, I don't remember the part of how it came up. It was related to my last point I was going to make because I'm freaking tired. Chic-Fil-E. A lot of people have been hearing about it in the news. The president or owner or whatever, the guy who runs the shit, came out last week or earlier this week and basically went into bigot mode and was completely denouncing gay marriages and homosexuality and things like that. And there's been a big backlash on it. LGBT, community supporters. People who are straight, people who are trans, people who are homosexual, it doesn't matter. There's been a large outcry on people basically saying, Chick-fil-A, you can go suck a cock. because there's, he came out and did this. I won't say I've always had an issue with Chick-Fil-A. It's a personal, but it's a business. It's a private business. Their philosophies or whatever they are. It was always annoying the fact that they're closed on Sundays. I'd love it, up until now, I would have loved to have had a nice chicken sandwich on a Sunday with some waffle fries. But at this point, I will probably not be eating at Chick-Fil-A. Now, although this may put me in a little hot water with some people, I might eat there. I don't know. If my kids want to eat there, I'll do it. If they ask me, no. I won't turn down free food from there. So if my job were to suddenly bring Chick-fil-A to work, okay, no problem, I'll take it. But I'm not going to voluntarily go there and eat anymore. I've already seen several posts online about how to make your own whatever, the chicken sandwiches, even the sweet tea. So, which I have a jug of that in the fridge anyways. I make my own tea. I know how to make tea. But what I was going to say was, a friend of mine had posted a thing on her Facebook about this, and it reminded me of something. You have all of these Christian leaders and members and people who are representing their faith. I won't say representing the church, but representing their faith. You got these people who go out and say, this is bad, this is good, all of this negative stuff that we hear in the news. And it comes down to it that you have people are pulling these quotes and ideals from the Bible that really aren't there. The idea of marriage is really screwed up in the Bible. The idea of one should not lay with a woman as they are lay with a man as they would lay with a woman, or that thing in Deuteronomy. I think it was Deuteronomy. Essentially was one should not treat a man as he would treat a woman in the sense that the woman was property. If you look at a lot of parts of the Bible, the females and slaves were lesser beings. The whole thing, if a man raped a woman, that woman belonged to that man. Things like if the woman died, if the husband died, the woman would then go to his next relative. Some bullshit like that. Like it would go to his brother if he was unmarried. So you have these people who selectively quote from the Bible, and then they don't even respect the whole authority of it. Basically they're not practicing what they're preaching. And to bring it back to point, I had mentioned that these people, although they advocate that they follow the teaching of Christ, are not. Because if we recall, Jesus Christ hung out with some rather deplorable characters. In the mainstream idea. The homeless, the sick people, I don't know how it was worded in the Bible, but whores, the prostitutes and things like that. He hung out with these people. And he didn't have a bit of issue with them. And they were part of the people that he was teaching. So I find it very counterproductive when you've got a group of people saying, be more Christ-like, don't do this and this, and the Bible says this, when it doesn't actually, but I won't follow it. When, if someone were to actually go in and read it and actually pay attention to what it says, they would realize that they're stupid. And, well, stupid is a strong word. Arrogant, no. Ignorant, in the sense of not knowing. They're basically, it's like not seeing a movie, but basing your knowledge of it off of previews and reviews. And maybe a little wiki or something like that. But, it's essentially that. You have selected quotes that are commonly placed and used as ammunition, and as soon as those particular ideas or quotes are rejected, or there's some opposition to it, the argument just turns into a useless, non-productive debate. That's why I don't identify myself as Christian. I'm not an atheist, but I am a theist. Theist. As I stated last night, I believe in some kind of a guiding force in the universe, but I don't call it God, Allah, Jehovah, Yahweh, whatever. There's a million names for the same being. But, or the same, whatever, flying spaghetti monster, Zeus, Ra, Jupiter, whatever. And it's an interesting thing that, little known fact, that I have I'm an ordained minister in a multi-denominational church. And kind of an interesting thing that goes along with that is having the ability to think in the moral sense that the Bible or any of the holy texts preach, not in a literal sense. I will say that I don't agree with most churches because they teach whatever that respective pastor's ideals are. If he is racist, sexist, whatever, there is a good chance that his words will not necessarily advocate that, but it will reflect a portion of that. And there's no morals in the larger part of the church. Small community churches, they're awesome. The big mega churches, where you have 10,000 members that show up every day, broadcast, TBN, where they broadcast multiple, nationally or internationally. It's ridiculous. These are not houses of God in the sense that they were supposed to be. While, yes, the person listening to it from their little one-room apartment in the middle of the city with no money is getting some kind of inspiration from it, the person who is giving these words is, we'll say, less than Jesus-like. You look at the guy with the spray tan and, the ones who have been proven to be not loyal to their family, which is another interesting thing about loyalty and family and family values. You got these politicians who are freaking out, and it's like, no, gays will ruin the marriage, the fundamentals of marriage. And then you have a lot of these, I don't want to say a lot, but you have these other politicians who advocate this to say, no, homosexuality is bad, it will screw up the foundation of marriage. But then, a year or so later, they're found to be having affairs and having bastard children and things like that. And then people go in to defend them and like, well, he was under a lot of stress. He set his moral barrier too high, and it's like, oh, really? You're going to defend a person who is supposed to be against these things, against these negative connotations in marriage? You're just going to defend him because you aren't willing to open your mind and learn and realize that, oh shit, he did something bad. So it's these double standards that are held to, and it's like you want to go and just kick some people in the nuts, like, are you stupid? The shit with the rape in the churches. You have these people who are supposed to be advocating peace and life and freedom and safety, spiritually, physically, things like that, and then they do this rather deplorable act behind closed doors. And a lot of people, and I've been seeing things now, and some bits and points in cable news and on the internet, but talking about how people are losing faith in religion. Well, if you continue to see what happens in the news, as we are, it's going to happen. Even the most devout Christians, Catholic, Jews, Muslims probably not, because if they get found out, they're probably likely to get killed, apparently, which is ridiculous. But a lot of people are turning away from religion, or at least Western religions, because they're so disenfranchised with it, because of the fact that you've got priests doing this really bad shit, churches stealing from their community, the mega churches that essentially take your money and give you false hope and prayer. If you believe in prayer, more power to you. Instead of prayer, I say it's like if someone's, it's like, pray for me, I got this, I'm like, I'll send good vibes their way, kind of thing. Or best, they'll be in my thoughts, best of luck, things like that. So, I think what I need to do is get like business cards made up, because like the last 2 weeks on Sunday I'll go get gas or go to the grocery store, and somebody be like, hey guy, here's a sob story, do you have a few bucks you can spare? I'm like, okay, yeah, here's $10, whatever. And both times they're like, well, God bless you, man, you're such a nice guy, thank you for your help. And I just want to hand them a card that says, from your friendly neighborhood non-believer, have a nice day. Something that's not insulting, but lets them know that, hey, I'm not Christian, but I have a moral system. I'm not an amoral shithead who doesn't believe in anything. So, yeah, there's that. So, for those of you who have stuck around this far after 23 minutes and haven't been completely offended by everything I said, thanks. I think my clothes are done washing. I think I don't hear the washing machine anymore, so I better go throw those in the dryer, go to sleep, because I'm going out of town tomorrow and I haven't done any packing. I got to be up for work in a few hours, so I'm like, I'm glad I come home and take a nap, because I come home, sleep for a few hours, do something productive, get behind on important things that I need to do, certain things I need to pay, certain people I need to pay that I feel bad about. Yeah. Oh, and another thing, Dallas, I hate you. Not the show, the city. I went to lunch today and put money in the meter, 45 minutes, and it was not expired for not even maybe a minute, 2 minutes. And when I walked out to my car to go put change in there, actually we were leaving, the damn person gave me a parking ticket. But it was nice. The guys I was with, they gave me a few bucks to go towards paying the parking. It's $35, but I'll pay that tomorrow. But a couple of the guys that because I drove today for lunch, and you know, a couple guys pitched in, like, here's a few bucks, and you know, so that was nice enough. But pay attention to parking. Don't be a bigot. Understand what you're reading before you advocate for it. Size 6 is not overweight, or not plus size. Bane has 2